Welcome to The Immigrant. My name is Eze, and on this channel, I talk about politics and ideas that shape our world. And in this video, I'll be discussing a woke doctor that goes by the name Dr. Kumar. And on this video, he was testifying before a United States Senate committee. So I'm going to play the video and react to it as the video plays on. So let's go straight in.
Dr. Kumar, you're now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Chairwoman Maloney, Representative Comer, thank you for the opportunity to...
You need your microphone.
Your microphone.
Chairwoman Maloney, Representative Comer, thank you for the opportunity to appear before the committee today. My name is Dr. Babit Kumar, and I use he, him pronouns. I grew up in Corsicana, Texas, where my family moved when I was 10. I know what it's like to be undocumented, a person of color, gay, and governed by white supremacist laws that burden our families and communities. I decided...
Did you see how people introduce themselves today? And also bear in mind that this guy happens to be an immigrant. He migrated with his parents to the United States at the age of 10. And he sat before the government of the country that welcomed his parents and him, telling them that he grew up in a system that is governed by white supremacist law. And yet, as a gay and an immigrant, you became a doctor and have the opportunity to testify before the government of the country as a free person. And just listen to, oh man, let's just listen.
I'm a doctor because I believe that everyone deserves quality health care. As I've provided abortion care in Texas for over 7 years, I've witnessed the steady erosion of our rights and freedoms at the hands of anti-abortion politicians. On September 1st, 2021, SB 8 banned abortion in Texas at about 6 weeks, before many people even know they're pregnant. Less than a year later, the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, allowing states like Texas to completely outlaw abortion. At this moment, America is effectively two countries, one where people can control their own bodies, and another where politicians have decided for them. I've met, sat with, and cared for thousands of people who know it's not the right time for them to be pregnant. Unlike the...
What he meant there is that he had carried out thousands of abortions or helped people to carry out abortions.
people who pass abortion bans or uphold them in court, I actually have to face those who are harmed. I have to look my patients in their eyes, listen to them beg for help, and tell them I'm not legally allowed to take care of them. These are real people with real lives and real stories. It's an honor and a privilege to hear them. As lawmakers, it's your obligation to reckon with the devastating consequences of abortion bans for my patients and your constituents.
That's a type of emotional blackmail. Listen to what he said there. I'm going to rewind this a little bit so you listen to the languages that he's using.
Honor and a privilege to hear them. As lawmakers, it's your obligation to reckon with the devastating consequences of abortion bans for my patients.
As lawmakers, it's your obligation to recognize the consequences of banning abortion.
And your constituents. It's your duty to hear their stories too. Before Roe was overturned, when we were still providing abortion care under SB 8, I saw a patient who was afraid her abusive partner would find out she was pregnant. She was sure she'd made it to the clinic in time to get an abortion. She hadn't. She barely made it to the clinic that day without her partner finding out. Going out of state was unthinkable. She sobbed so loudly, people could hear her in the waiting room.
Now he's bringing in domestic violence.
Her fate was sealed. She was sentenced by the state to carry that pregnancy to term, tethered to her abusive partner to likely endure more abuse. These stories are endless. Rape, incest, young girls still learning about their bodies, mothers juggling multiple jobs and kids, college students with their whole lives ahead of them, trans folks who thought they couldn't get pregnant, people with wanted pregnancies.
Does trans people get pregnant? Do they have the intention to even bear children? Well, that's stories for another day, I guess.
Where something went gravely wrong. People extremely sick from pregnancy who came in clutching IV poles, and on and on and on. Over and over again, we are forced to violate our conscience and our training to turn away patients who need us. There's nothing more inhumane, cruel, or unethical than having to deny people the essential health care
Another emotional blackmailing.
they seek in their time of need. Now, as providers in Texas, Our scope of practice is limited by the law. Texas has 3 overlapping abortion bans that carry severe punishments for providers like me, including life in prison, unless it's a medical emergency, something the law fails to adequately define because it was written by politicians and not doctors. Doctors have to wait to intervene. People have already been denied the care they need, even for early pregnancy loss, commonly known as miscarriage, because they weren't sick enough yet, not bleeding enough yet, not miscarrying enough yet. All this in a state with extremely
It's a shame that the Americans have allowed such people to blackmail them and shame them into doing things that are against their principles and in some cases against the United States constitutions. And I won't be shocked if, let's say, the Republicans become the next, a Republican become the next president, and they start setting out laws, especially if they have the majority in the Senate, that limit immigrations even more and make it harder for immigrants, regardless of where they're coming from, to get into the United States. Because this guy is it's an example of the cliche successful immigrant or the immigrant success story of the United States. And that is fine. This is something to be celebrated. My brother is one of those people. He lives in the United States and he's also a doctor. And it's shocking that someone who knows that they came from such a background can just, become this. This is embarrassing to his community, I have to say, because there's no way he can do this in whichever country that he originates from. I'm guessing that is from Asia originally. There's no Asian country that an a child of migrant, in fact, not just a child of migrant, a migrant who grew up in their country, became successful, became in whatever field they choose, would make it to the front of the country Senate and make comments like this. This is shocking, and now I start to understand the reason they call the United States the land of the free. And that is a very good thing. But looking at the decadence of the West, especially of the United States, people like this shouldn't be given this type of platform, in my opinion. But again, that would be against the United States core beliefs and constitution, where people have the freedom of speech, at least in theory to some extent. Yeah, let's just listen to him. This is painful to hear.
high maternal mortality rates, especially for Black women, who are already 3 times more likely to die during childbirth. Abortion bans are inherently racist, inherently classist, and fundamentally part of the white supremacy.
He's just throwing in everything that he could. Racist, classist.
We don't have to imagine a world where people face the deadly consequences of being denied essential medical care. It's here, and we should be ashamed. But it doesn't have to be this way. You are all in a position to act. Please be creative, be bold, and do something.
That sounds like Greta Thunberg, the climate change girl. This is insane.
People's lives depend on you because they do. I will never stop fighting for my patients, for their right to control their own bodies without political interference, and for my ability to provide them with the best medical care I can. I will show up for them with the dignity and respect that they deserve and that their government has denied them. I welcome your questions. Thank you.
Okay, I'll play the second video because the entire video is about 3 hours and there's other people like him in this particular Senate hearing. So what I would do is to play another part where he continued to speak and he had a bit of feather ruffling with a senator. So let's go straight into that.
While we're talking about science, let's talk about biology. And let's just keep it real simple, just 2 yes or no questions. And this is for Dr. Kumar. Dr. Kumar, can biological men become pregnant and give birth?
A straight question.
So men can have pregnancies, especially trans men.
So can biological
How did people like this become doctors? A straight question, yes or no. But they have to twist it and oh man.
men become pregnant and give birth? So are you saying that a biological female who identifies as a man and therefore becomes pregnant is, quote, a man? Is that what you're saying?
These questions about who can become pregnant are really missing the point. I'm here to talk
No, no,
about
no, no,
what's
no, no.
happening in Texas.
This is me
Somebody-
asking a question
I'm answering
and
your
you
question.
answering. I'm asking the question, sir, not you.
Right, and I'm answering the question. Somebody with a uterus may have the capability of becoming pregnant, whether they're a woman or a man. That doesn't make a
Okay, we're
difference.
done.
Not
We're
every
done.
person with
This
a
isn't
uterus has the
complicated.
ability
Let
to
me
become
tell you, if a
pregnant.
person has
This
a
is
uterus
medicine.
and is
Medicine?
born female, they are a woman. That is not a man, and the vast majority of the world considers that to be a woman because there are biological differences between men and women. I mean, clearly, any high school biology class teaches that men and women have different chromosomes. Females are XX chromosome and male are XY chromosome. Can't believe it's necessary to say this, but men cannot get pregnant and cannot give birth, regardless of how they identify themselves. Why in the world would Democrats have brought in a person whose title is Director of Trans Care for an abortion hearing when only biological women can become pregnant? Dr. Kumar, in your
I'm gonna replay that question. I know it's a political question, but let's hear that again.
Why in the world would Democrats have brought in a person whose title is Director of Trans Care for an abortion hearing when only
So he's a director of trans care, not even abortion care. Wow.
biological women can become pregnant? Dr. Kumar, in your opening statement, you said, quote, abortion bans are inherently racist,
I think the Democrat chose him because of inclusivity. So they want to take someone who is gay, as he said he is, and someone who is migrant. So to kind of play more emotional game. This is more of an emotional game. There's no logic to this. Is we're gonna bring someone who they can look at and won't be able to say some things, but clearly it's not working. It's getting roasted.
inherently classist and fundamentally part of the white supremacy agenda. How do you rationalize working for Planned Parenthood, an organization founded by Margaret Sanger, someone who associated with white supremacist groups and eugenics? Margaret Sanger's entire focus was to decimate communities of color through abortion to eliminate their future generations.
You know, at a time,
How many abortions have you performed in your
Even the senator is frustrated. Like, even these people don't know their own history. The things they fight for, they don't. It seems like they know nothing about the founders of these ideas and the movements.
lifetime?
if I can answer your
No,
question,
no, no. How many abortions have you performed in your lifetime?
likely thousands.
Likely thousands.
Ooh.
Okay. So as a doctor yourself, do you believe you have terminated enough unborn babies to justify Margaret Sanger's beliefs and your continuance of her legacy? This is unconscionable. This is inexcusable. I'm thankful it is now criminal, and I look forward to the day when life is again respected across our entire nation.
That's the type of affirmative answers and roasting that these people deserve sometimes. It's just what they deserve sometimes. It's a shame. It's not even the right person to sit there and make this argument. And yet, there he is.
Closing, I'd like to ask for unanimous consent to submit for the record a copy of the United States Constitution, which, despite my Democrat colleagues' absurd claims, does not, and I repeat, does not include a constitutional right to abortion. The word abortion doesn't even exist in it. And I would also like to ask unanimous consent to submit for the record the Declaration of Independence, which highlights the inalienable right to life.
This is why there's a passage in the Bible that said, seek first the kingdom of God and everything else shall be added unto you, including the riches, friendship, family, and all that. And it's clear that this guy, Dr. Kumar, has not seek the kingdom, which is the land, the law of the land. When you go to a country, it doesn't matter if you go there when you're 10, Even if you were born there, I think every citizen of every country should seek the land, understand the constitution, and stand for it. And if the constitution is wrong, then why not fight to change or start a discussion on how to amend the constitution? And I think the United States is a good place for things like this because they have multiple amendments. So it's clear that this guy did not seek the kingdom. That's the end of the video here. If you want to watch the entire 3 hours video, which I find very interesting, I'll leave a link to it in the description, and go and watch it if you have the time, or listen to it in audio if you have, I think, YouTube Premium, something like that. Anything that is not pro-life, it's not pro-human. You cannot be pro-human and not be a pro-life. I don't know why this is complicated. I don't even know why people are debating this. How can you be pro-human? How can you even be a doctor? And I'm sure I'm older than this dude. And he had committed, or he had performed, over 1,000 abortions. Wow. That's shocking. And at this point, or at this rate, it's going to be difficult for the United States not to go into total decline. Maybe not in our lifetime, but it's surely guaranteed if this madness is not brought to an end. And that is all I have to say in this video. My name is Cesar once again. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp.